it's Emily and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm starting a choose your own adventure reading vlog. I saw Chandler from Chandler Ainsley do this a little while ago, like a year or two ago, and I just found the idea super entertaining and interesting. It was a fun video to watch, and so I wanted to do it too. I'll link Chandler's YouTube channel and the video down below in the description if you want to check that out. But essentially, in this vlog, I'm going to start off reading two different books, and I'm going to get 50% into them, and based on that 50%, you are going to essentially predict which one you think I'm going to enjoy more, and if you predict correctly, you'll be led to more videos, but if you are wrong, you will be just taken back to the other video to get back on track and just see how this works. I don't know, I feel like if you're close to me, you might be able to guess, maybe on the synopsis, which one you think I will enjoy more. Essentially, that is what we're doing today. This will consist of 5 rounds. I'll be reading 10 books in this video. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. So the first 2 books I'm going to be reading in this one is A Deal with the Devil, I believe it's called, by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I don't know too much about this going in, but essentially I've started this one, so this one follows this girl, and her best friend works for this plastic surgeon billionaire kind of guy, and he needs the protagonist to kind of fill in for him while he's off going to get his adopted child or something from another country. So essentially, protagonist, I don't know her name yet, I don't know his name yet, she kind of comes to fill in for her friend, and there's an enemies to lovers, I think, situation here. Well, I think anyways, I'm pretty sure it's enemies to lovers. I do like enemies to lovers, don't get me wrong, but it's not my favorite trope. We're gonna read 2 enemies to lovers books in this vlog, and we'll see which one I like more. The other one is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Sapana. I don't really know much about this one. I just think, does it involve hiking? I think it's a Grumpy Sunshine sort of thing, and I want to say hiking is involved. I don't know too much about it, and I'm gonna go into it pretty blind. And once I get into it a bit more, I'll give you more of the plot line. But yeah, that's where we're starting today. So I'm going to start with A Deal with the Devil, get 25%, 50%, then I'll change books, and then you get to guess which one you think I'm going to enjoy more. I finally got around to starting this vlog, and I am 27% into A Deal with the Devil by Elizabeth O'Rourke, and I'm surprisingly enjoying this book more than I expected it to. It's one of those books I don't think I would typically pick up because it just doesn't sound for me, or just the kind of books I don't typically enjoy, kind of, I don't know, to some extent. We like The Nanny Affair and Choices, which I have read 2 chapters of, but I don't like that book whatsoever. But not even I don't know, it's not even really like that. It's just I guess the billionaire kind of aspect to that book. But essentially the plot of this book is we are following our main character Tally, and she ends up taking over as the assistant for this guy named Hayes. He's a famous plastic surgeon, and her friend is going to get this adoption, so he just needs somebody to take over as Hayes' assistant for 6 weeks. So Tally decides that she will take over because it's going to pay well, and so she might as well. And she's trying to write this book, and so she'd gotten an advance on it, but she'd end up giving the advance to her mom to help pay for her sister's I don't know what it's called. She's at a place. I don't completely know what's going on. Sorry, I'm not gonna be able to explain that one part well. But since then, she's also been really struggling to write this book and doesn't know if she's gonna be able to finish writing it. So any money she can get sounds good to her, and she's all right, well, I'm gonna work for this guy for 6 weeks, make some money, and move on with my life. But what she doesn't intend is her falling for Hayes in the process. So far, I am really enjoying this, surprisingly, because for something I don't really like in books, and I've kind of stopped picking up, aside from, I guess, this one, is I don't like rich people. I just find them boring, I've decided. I don't care about them, but maybe it's just the fact that I've been replaying Bloodbound and Choices, which is the only billionaire boss love interest I'm actually obsessed with, aka Adrian Raines. Maybe it's that, I don't know, but I'm having a good time with this book. There's definitely some sexual tension, which at this early in the book, it's pretty meh to me, but you can definitely tell there's chemistry between them, and I definitely like the moments. There's definitely a lot of soft moments, which I really appreciate. Like, it's not, like, it's enemies to lovers in a way, but like the enemies kind of part kind of goes away pretty quickly, which is my preference, I guess, with these things. So I wouldn't call it necessarily like enemies to lovers. It's just kind of like like they're not enemies. It's just like, because I feel like so many people are like willing to stamp on enemies to lovers to anything these days, and I just think I wouldn't call this enemies to lovers. There's just kind of like a dislike, I guess, at first, but that doesn't really last all that long. You can already tell he's definitely kind of has like a bit of a soft spot for her and likes her, so it's a bit, I'd call this more Grumpy Sunshine rather than calling this enemies to lovers. But yeah, their chemistry is really cute. They just had some really sweet scenes together, or just, you can tell like he has like this bit of this like soft side for her, and like I just am a sucker for that in Grumpy Sunshine. It's just whenever I see that, my heart just goes, Grumpy Sunshine's like, has to be one, like you can say with about any trope, has to be done well. I mean, friends to lovers can get away with like I think a lot more. Like friends to lovers doesn't always have to be done well for me to necessarily enjoy it, but like obviously I enjoy it a lot more when it is done well, or a specific way that I personally like. I do have a few favorite romances that are Grumpy Sunshine, but this one it's very cute so far. I'm enjoying it more than I think I expected, because premise-wise, I think if I just read the premise of this book and that was the only reason I picked it up, actually I probably wouldn't have even picked it up if I just read the premise. Like, this wouldn't have sounded interesting to me. This wouldn't have sounded like something I'd want to pick up. It's because I heard it, I got recommended it, I heard about it. Trust your opinion, I'm going to pick it up, and yeah, enjoying it more than I expected to, which is a welcome surprise. I really applaud any writer who can make me enjoy things I don't typically. I think that's good writing in my opinion. Yeah, that's overall what I'm enjoying about this book. Is just kind of, there's a lot of just like soft kind of sweet moments, but there's definitely like that layer of like sexual tension, I guess, on it too. So it makes it fun. And I feel like the characters, in a way, are to some extent similar, but like for different reasons, if that makes any sense. Like, we have Hayes, who's kind of this like sort of playboy, which I think some people, I don't know if I've gotten that around. People think I don't like playboys. I feel like there's quite a lot of characters who are playboys that I do end up actually really enjoying. So that's not always the case, ever. But he's a bit of that, like, I think to a bit more extreme extent to what I'm used to, because sometimes characters are kind of more labeled as playboys, but like they, as soon as they meet the main character, they kind of like end all that, whereas like, it's not as soon as we meet the main character, but as soon as he gets to know the main character a little bit, it's kind of like, okay. Yeah, there's one scene where she has to like go and like get his, one of the girls like out of his room or whatever, and then she has to go to some lawyer thing, and she ends up like changing clothes, because she says it's red dress, she's like late to this lawyer thing, and so she ends up giving her clothes that she's never gonna get back. And it's kind of like the first little moment, like when Hayes finds out that's the reason, like she's wearing some like red dress or whatever, like you can kind of see that's the moment he kind of starts going a little soft for her. And yeah, they both went through pretty bad breakups. Like, I'd say they probably only were both in one relationship, where they kind of put like a bunch of themselves into that relationship, and the person ended up doing the same for them. And so they kind of have a way to relate to each other, whether or not they're like actually doing it, but like as the reader you can, I guess, see it. And so it makes it difficult for them to like, I guess, trust in love again. And what works about, I think, this one compared to like other sort of boss romance things is like the boss thing is kind of temporary. So like I said, not my first choice to pick up something with this premise, but I am pleasantly surprised to be enjoying it. So it's a good time. I am excited to continue on with it and read more of it and see where things go. I am about 54%, a little over halfway, into A Deal with the Devil by Elizabeth O'Rourke, and it's still a fun time. I mean, I've been reading it all day long, which says something. I mean, I told myself today, it's my day, it's my introvert day. I'm just treating myself to a good book. I don't have to have much to say about it, aside from that, like, I'm enjoying it. Like, I don't know, like, could potentially get 5 stars. I don't know yet. It's one of those books, like, I'm not, like, entirely sure about yet. We're just gonna have to see, I guess, how the rest of this book goes. Like, there's some books, like, I start, and I know they're gonna get 5 stars, and then there's some books like this that where I'm like, potentially, we shall see. But I am enjoying it. It's cute, it's a fun time. Like I said, there's that, like, layer of sexual tension, but honestly, like, earlier in the books, when it's kind of early in the books, it does kind of bother me, like, a little bit. Like, I'd rather, I mean, I guess sexual tension's always great, but, like, I don't know, I like the emotional romantic tension, like, a little better, and then, like, I like it kind of being built upon, not kind of it being right out of the gate, if that makes sense. It's all fun and dandy. It's not, like, bothering me or anything. I actually like it now. Waiting for these two to get together because, like, it makes sense. Like, I feel like they both have, like, these trust issues based with their previous relationships. Both of them having... Actually, I don't think I can say too much. I feel like it's gonna go spoiler territory. But they both kind of experienced similar things, I guess, in their relationships. So they both have trust issues with that. It's only been, like, a year since... What's her name? Tally. She broke up with her ex-boyfriend, but that relationship was, like, for a long period of time. Hayes has been, like, in pretty serious relationships, and some of the things have happened to him, and it's been, like, 7 years since he's had, like, a serious relationship. He's definitely, like, it's been interesting, because, like, in the beginning parts, I don't think I talked about this part, even though this wasn't, like, the first 25%, but he would go out, like, on these dates or whatever, but, like, he would text her, like, during them, which kind of, like, symbolizes he's not having a good time, and he's also thinking about her, and he was talking about her on these dates, and now, like, he's not been doing any of the hookup stuff, and she was like, oh, I try not to think about it, but, like, I just assumed, like, he was doing it elsewhere, but, like, he's kind of confessed, like, actually, nothing at all, for reasons I don't want to discuss, because they both are fighting this attraction for each other, which they both like each other, and, like, they want to be more, but at the same time, they don't because of their trust issues, which, fair. But, like, at the same time, there's, like, this growing attraction, and it's a cute, fun time, and it's just, yeah, she's definitely kind of changing his heart a little bit, and I guess how he reacts to things, and it's really cute and fun, and I'm enjoying this book a lot. This is one of those books could have gone either way, and I'm glad it's going the positive way. So, like I said, it's not one of those books, like, where I immediately pick it up, and, like, I know it's gonna be 5 stars, but I think the first chapter, I was like, eh, but then after that I got quite into it. Like, as soon as we said that little soft side, I'm like, okay, you have me, you got me. Here I am. Sometimes I do like the brooding playboys. Sometimes I do. Not always, but sometimes. There's also one of those, like, scenes, like, where the protagonist or whatever is sick, and the love interest takes care of her, despite, you know, being sick. It's disgusting. But it also kind of works here because he's also a doctor. A plastic surgeon, but still a doctor nonetheless. So, we had one of those scenes, and, like, those scenes, just chef's kiss. Like, those are just some of the best scenes. Like, it's always so just cute. It's, like, something, I mean, being sick is gross, but, like, I don't know, something about, like, someone seeing you at your worst and still, like, us loving you. I mean, like, being sick is a pretty human thing, but, like, I don't know. It's one of those scenes. It was cute. We had a kiss, but, like, it was under, like, one of those circumstances where, like, it was fake in a way. Like, not, like, their feelings were definitely both there, but, like, fake in, like, the sense of, like, they're not confessing their feelings for each other kind of kiss, if that makes any sense. This is still good. I'm enjoying it. I am excited to continue on with it, but we're gonna put this on bit on pause. Now we're gonna pick up All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, I believe. But that's the book. That's what book we're reading. Anyways, we're just covering the screen here. Again, I'll end about this Grumpy Sunshine, so we're picking up some similar stuff here. I don't know if it's Enemies to Lovers or if it's just Grumpy Sunshine. We shall see. And, yeah, I'm gonna get into this, and I'll update you, and then you get to choose which one you think I'm gonna like more. So, I mean, obviously I don't know yet because I haven't picked this book up yet, so I'll be curious to see. Hopefully it don't make it too hard on you, because that would not be great. I hope it's not difficult on me to decide. Hopefully there's some kind of clear choice, but we shall see. So, anyways, I'm gonna jump into it, and I'll update you in a little bit. I'm about 25-ish% into All Roads Lead Here, and I'm not having a good time with this book, not gonna lie. Not been a fun time. Like, I don't really know what else to say. It's too long, honestly, so far. It's just, this book does not need to be this long. I just feel like we're going through it, and nothing interesting has really happened yet. I feel like it's just taking so long to get to the point, and, like, I can be on board with a slower book, but I feel like for a romance, we haven't seen a lot of these characters interact, and a lot of it has been pretty negative. It's kind of reminded me a bit of Well Met by Jen DeLuca, which that book was shorter, but, like, I don't know, kind of a similar vibe. We kind of had, like, that Grumpy Sunshine thing going on, and I don't know, the love interest just doesn't seem to care about the main character, and this one's, like, different than from the Deal with the Devil book that I was reading. It's just, like, whereas, like, with this grumpy guy, like, he's just not, like, a fun kind of grumpy guy. Like, or with, even The Love Hypothesis, which I read recently. Like, it's just not fun, and maybe it's also just, like, I'm not a huge fan of small town romances, is something I think choices and Hallmark in general have kind of ruined that for me. It might have just be the fact, like, especially Hallmark, the Hallmark channel, like, whenever I read a small town romance, it kind of just reminds me of, like, a Hallmark movie, and I'm not a fan of Hallmark movies, so this is just not working out for me. Ironically, I'm wearing a shirt today, so nothing goes right, go left, which I feel like, I don't know, the protagonist doing, she's a fresh start, but it's just like, I'm not having a good time. This book is way too long, and it's so boring, and I do not care about it. I'm hoping by 50% something is, like, picked up, and maybe I start caring like I did a bit in Well Met. Like, I don't love Well Met by Jen DeLuca, but at least, like, it got interesting at one point. But I feel like I'm getting the vibes here with this book that, like, it's gonna be one of those, like, screaming at each other, I hate you, and up to making out kind of things. Because we just haven't had, like, a lot of development. And, like, I know this book is long, but, like, we could have developed things a bit faster. This book had no right to be this long. It's, like, I don't know. I think that I'm listening to the audiobook, and I gotta say the audiobook is kind of weird too. I just had to pick it up because I was so struggling trying to read this physically. Like, I read the first chapter and it was just so slow moving, and I'm glad I went the audiobook way, because this way it's listening on 2x speed and I'm getting through it slightly faster, but the audiobook is like 16 hours long. Like I said, a romance doesn't need to be this long. It has no right to be this long. It doesn't need to be. You can still deliver a good story without it being this long, and not, like, I think some books can be long and be enjoyable, but this one is just not. I feel like it's kind of showing the examples here. When I say I like Grumpy Sunshine, there's a kind I like and there's a kind I don't like, and this is the kind I don't like. So I feel like if you did like Well Met by Jen DeLuca, I think you would like this, but I don't know, I wasn't a fan of Well Met, so, and I'm not a fan of this either, but kind of giving off similar vibes. It's interesting though, because our protagonists in both the books I'm currently reading are both going through breakups from relationships that went on for like a freaking long time, and it seems like the breakups were for somewhat similar reasons, and like they have there's a lot of similarities with that, which I found kind of interesting, that it conveniently I'm picking these two books and our protagonists are kind of in somewhat similar situations. I think the breakup, I don't know, plot just works a lot better I care about it more in A Deal with the Devil, but I don't want to compare too much, so. I just want this book to pick up. I just want this to get better. I want this to be more enjoyable, and it's not a good time. I'm not liking it. It's too long. So, I don't know. I think most Mariana Zapata books, I've never picked up one before, but I've heard, like, you know, a lot of people like them. But this one, I mean, I haven't heard too much about this book. I'm just not enjoying it. So, like, I know it's kind of popular, I feel like, to some extent, but maybe her other books are better. If there's one that you think I'd enjoy, recommend it down below, but, like, this is not a good time. And this is why I may say at times, like, Grumpy Sunshine isn't all for me. Maybe because I've read too many of them, but even so, like, we're not really getting even any hints that, like, he kind of has a soft spot for the main character. It's just, like, there's none of that. She's being, like, the nicest human being, and he's just kind of being a jerk. I guess there's, like, some moments. I don't even know if I really summarized this book for you, so I should do that. Essentially, we follow our main character. Her name's Aurora. I was trying to remember his name. And I think the love interest's name's Tobias Rhodes, as all roads lead here. Anyways, honestly, I kind of wish the uncle was the love interest. He's nicer. I'm more like him, but anyways, not the point. Her mom apparently, like, disappeared and supposedly died, I'm guessing, I don't know how many years ago, if it was recent. It sounds like it was a while ago. But then it's, like, at the same time, like, she sounds like she's only been gone for, like, a year. Like, so I don't really know. The timeline of this book's a little confusing, but she's in, like, her 30s. So, like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, I can't give you the timeline. She's kind of grieving her mom. I guess she's kind of always grieving her mom. And she's recently broken up with this guy who she's been with for like 14 years because he was just being a jerk. But then it's like, again, it's like sounding like it was a year ago, but then like at the beginning of the book, it made it sound like it was pretty recent, like a few days ago or something. Like, I don't freaking know the timeline of this book. It's so confusing. But anyway, she's going back to her old town, and she rented out this garage, but when she gets there, she finds out, like, that Tobias's son rented it out to her without Tobias's knowledge, and so Tobias is super grumpy. He's not thrilled about it, but he ends up letting her stay once she decides she's going to pay him, like, triple what it's worth for, like, a month, and then she's going to move out and find a place, because she just wants to see, sometimes it's kind of temporary, so she can kind of see whether or not she actually wants to stay here, if she wants to move somewhere else, like, she's not sure if things are going to work out. But she's reconnecting with old friends, yeah, getting to know Tobias and the son. I like the son, I guess, a lot. He's nice. This book is just so boring. It's kind of reading, I think, a bit more, like, I guess, literary fiction in a way. Like, it's not, I wouldn't say that the romance is even, like, the forefront of this book. So, like, it doesn't really feel like a romance. I don't even think I'd call it a romance at this point in time, because what we've seen of it has been so little. She's just been grumpy the whole time. Like, it's just giving me the vibe it's gonna be one of those books we don't really get much development from him, and all of a sudden, like, it's like hate you to making out. So far, at 25%, it's just not a good time. Also, like I mentioned, I think the audiobook was weird, but I don't think I went into that. Essentially, with the audiobook, like, it's from a female narrator, like, it's in first person, female narrator, but whenever there's, like, dialogue from the male love interest, all of a sudden we have, like, the male narrator speaking just the male dialogue part, and it's a really weird choice. I'm all for full cast audiobooks, but the way it's done here, it just feels weird. It just feels off. Like, it's different. I don't like it. I think if there was, like, his perspective, and even if he had his perspective, maybe I'd care about him a bit more. But, like, we're kind of just trying to find out stuff about him and just get intrigued by him, which, honestly, I find him kind of boring, so I'm not really intrigued by the love interest or him at all. It's just not a fun time. I don't like this book. I'm not enjoying it. There's nothing I can say I like about this book, honestly, like, aside from, I guess, the son. And the uncle seemed really nice. Like, if the love story was between her and Amos's uncle, I would have been down for that. But, like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Tobias, who's extremely boring. She started working at this, like, fishing store, and she doesn't know a lot about fishing, but she wants to help her friend Clara out. And so she's able to ask Tobias said she can ask him for like half an hour questions about fishing, so she's able to help the customers a lot out more. But like, which I guess it's nice that he can help her, but at the same time, he clearly just doesn't want to be there. He'd rather be anywhere else. It's like, I guess he's doing a nice thing, but do I care? Not really. And he's very strict about this half an hour sort of thing. He's like, alright, time's up. It's very clear he's bored. He'd rather be anywhere else but with her, and I don't know why she cares about him. Especially when she's talking about, like, you know, how this guy treated her badly, and, like, not to say this man is necessarily treating her badly, like, toxically, but he's not being nice to her. And we're not even getting, like, a little glimpse that, like, she's cracking him, like, a bit. Like, there's none of that. Like, nothing. Where, like, he's like, okay, maybe, like, I do enjoy having you around. Like, it's just none of that. And this book just needs to pick up the pace. It's so slow. It's way too long. It needs to stop. Like, 16 hours for a romance book, that's too long in my opinion. But I don't know. I feel like for a fantasy book, sure, that works for me. I'm totally fine with reading, like, 16 hours of, like, a fantasy book. But, like, 16 hours of a romance, so slow moving. I do not care about this book. I do not care about the characters. I do not care about this world. I don't care. There's supposed to be more hiking, but, like, honestly, she's talked about hiking, but I feel like we never see her, like, go into it. I don't know. It's boring. I swear, like, if this is gonna be one of those I get a new mom for Christmas books, I quit. Like, I feel like it's going in that direction. Because Amos definitely likes her, and she seems to like him, so obviously there's, like, she could be, like, a mom figure to him. We don't really know, like, what's going on, I guess, with Tobias and his previous relationship, if he was divorced or what. I have no idea, and honestly, I don't care. So whenever we find things out in this book that are, like, revealed, it's honestly, it just confuses me more, and I do not understand, because I thought she was dead, like, her mom was dead, but then she's like, she disappeared, and I'm like, okay, well, she disappeared, but she's dead. Hypothetically, I don't know. I've listened to the audiobook just to get through this book, but, like, I didn't want to physically read it after the first chapter. That was too much. These chapters are so long, too. I'm a fan of short chapters. I'm only 25% into it, and I feel like, I mean, I'm at 4 hours into the audiobook out of 16 hours, so I feel like I should be halfway done with this book, but I'm only at the 25% mark. So much could have been cut out this book, honestly. Like, this book has a lot of just boringness going on. Like, I feel like we need some time jumps here. We need something to pick it up and make it more interesting. So if you like a slow-moving book, then maybe check this out, but, like, hopefully at 50% I can come to you and with a more, like, positive outlook on this book, but it's just not a good time. I don't like it. Hello. So, I'm about 50%, finally, into All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, and it's getting better, I guess. I don't know. I'm enjoying it, I guess, slightly more, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's, like, amazing or whatever. We kind of got, I guess, more details on, like, her mom, so essentially she, like, disappeared and her body was never found. So hypothetically, I mean, here's the thing, if I'm going with my theory about with Riverdale and any other show, if you don't see a body, they aren't dead. So, I mean, anything's possible, but, I mean, I think it'd be really weird if we went in the direction of, like, psych, the mom's still alive. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I'd rather not go there, that'd be a little weird. I don't know. she's gonna get closer with her mom, so I mean, to some extent, I guess that developed in a way I liked. I don't know. Like, I'm still not loving it. Like, it's, like I said, I'm comparing it a lot to Well Met by Jen DeLuca. It's very slow moving, very slow burn. I would say this book's the kind of slice of life, but I mean, even if you like slice of life like myself, I'm just not vibing with it. I'm just finding it too slow. I don't know. If you like a lot of action in your romances and you just like them more fast paced, this is not the book for you. If you like a very, very, and I mean very slow moving book, maybe. Like, and if Grumpy Sunshine is like your jam, it's your everything, then yeah, probably this might work for you. We kind of had this moment when, what's her face? See, I can't even remember the names. Aurora went on a date with this guy, which honestly, despite the fact the date didn't go well, I felt from their first moment together that they had more chemistry than the protagonists did. And anyways, she came back from this date, and there's kind of this like little moment between them where like he'd kind of stayed up and like waited for her to come back after he found out that she was on a date, and kind of asked her about it and was kind of like, well, he should have treated you better on the date. And there's kind of like that moment there that I'm like, do I like this now? I don't know. It's going places. So, I mean, do I wish we got here faster? Heck yes. I feel like I shouldn't, like, this is like I think 2 chapters ago, so I feel like I wish I got there before the halfway point. But hey, at least we got there, I suppose. Yeah, we kind of had some development in that areas that were going places, I suppose. Kind of intrigued to see their relationship. He's kind of like, I don't know, he's definitely showing more interest in her. It's not, I think, my particular Grumpy Sunshine that, like, maybe I enjoy, or I don't know, he just kind of gets off her, like, very quickly, but, like, he likes her more now, I guess, so that's improvement. Kind of showing a bit more interest in her and getting to know her rather than just being like, I don't care that you live here, so, like, I guess that's progress. But I feel like from her standpoint, I don't know, like, she definitely kind of thinks he's attractive. I guess she doesn't necessarily have realized if she has romantic feelings or not yet, I suppose. Like, she hasn't really thought too much of it. She's just like, I think she kind of thinks he wouldn't look at her that way, so she's just not really giving it a second thought. But I think from her standpoint, like, I don't know, I just don't see her why she would like him. I don't know. So, I don't know, the chemistry I feel like feels like a little forced, but I'll go with it. It's getting better. There was like that kind of one moment that I'm like, okay, there's a promise here. I wouldn't say I love this book or anything, but it's promising. It's going a bit more, I'm getting more into it. It's very slow, and I feel like I should have been into it, I think, before the 50% mark, but hey, at least we got there, sort of, I suppose. Also, it's the same day. I just was boiling hot, so I just put on a t-shirt because I just not feel like wearing that sweater anymore. Because my room is boiling, which I probably should like open the door, but I just had a fan on, so I've decided to change that. That's that. It is the same day though. So who knows? Maybe you know something I don't, and maybe this will get better. But that's how I'm feeling about it at the moment. So now that I've gotten to the halfway point in both of these books, it's time for you to choose which one you think I will like more, or whichever one you want to hear me talk about more. So yeah, I'm 50% in both, so you can choose to go with the Deal with the Devil, or you can choose to go with All Roads Here. And yeah, if you choose correctly, you'll be led to more videos. If not, you'll just be put back on track, and yeah, we can continue this fun little game we're having here. So yeah, I don't know how to end this.